Hey there, anime fans! Welcome to another exciting episode of What If series, where we explore the possibilities of alternate universes for our favorite characters. In today's episode, we delve into the world of My Hero Academia and ask the question, what if Deku has a gamer quirk? Get ready for a thrilling ride as we imagine the limitless potential of this alternate version of Deku. So, let's jump right into it. Chapter 1, Level 1, Status, Izuku Midoriya. LVL2 Weakling, Strength, Negligible, Dexterity, Brick-like, Constitution, Cardboard, Intelligence, surprisingly above average, but coupled with self-esteem and a nasty habit of second-guessing himself, this turns into a negative. Wisdom, has a quirk like this, still wants to be a hero. Charisma, Cold Wet Noodle. Izuku sighed at the info box his quirk greeted him with every morning. Officially his quirk was known as Mundane Status, which was both an apt description of it, but also understated just how terrible his quirk really was. Not only was the information it provided incredibly wrong at times, but it was equally pointless. Honestly, he'd rather not even have a quirk. Even the clock was wrong. And the only useful things it gave him were the quest log and the minimap. The only problem was that the quest log only showed stuff he remembered and the minimap didn't work when he was lost. And oftentimes the numbers didn't make sense. Shoes equipped, 5 movement, pants equipped, 5 to decency, shirt equipped, 5 to decency, buff fully dressed, you are fully dressed. His quirk ignored things like underwear and socks. Though just wearing underwear and socks didn't give him anything. When he had nothing at all on, or rather equipped, he got a warning that said Unga Bunga mode. He didn't even know what that means. Google just told him that it was something cavemen said. Daily quest complete, get ready for school. Reward, you are now ready for another disappointing day at school. 5 EXP, thank you. Izuku half growled and slung his backpack on. He didn't even know what EXP was. Or how he could use it. He was fairly certain that as with everything his quirk was just fucking with him. It had to be sentient. Why else would it insult him constantly? Talking to your quirk again, honey? His mother gave him the same worried smile she gave him every morning ever since they realized that his quirk was, for lack of a better term, terrible. So terrible that there was simply no way he could become a hero with it. And now he was afflicted with guilt. His quirk really was just so amazing. He ate breakfast, gaining a well-fed buff that once again didn't do anything, and then began his long and ever so slightly boring walk to school. A small glowing trail of dots showed him the usual path he took each day. Did everybody else have a quirk that wormed its way into every part of their lives? Mutation quirks perhaps. But most emitter or transformation type quirk users could live their lives pretty normally. Maybe his quirk wasn't quite that bad. At least physically. But waking up every morning and seeing that he was still a level 2 weakling and having no idea what the hell that meant, was starting to get a little bit frustrating. Maybe I should go to therapy after all? He muttered, turning down the street. But then he'd be placed on a list and he wouldn't be able to become a hero even if he found out a way to use his quirk effectively. If only it was like ragdolls and gave useful information. Nope. He looked up and saw that his day was about to get ever so slightly worse. A red nameplate appeared with an orange LVL5 that followed Katsuki Bakugo around with an arrow pointing to his exact location. It only worked when Izuku was paying attention to him, so he couldn't even get a warning or anything. He couldn't even access Katsuki's stats or anything relevant. It was just, Katsuki Bakugo, LVL5. Why was he level 5? Was it because his quirk was strong? Was it because Katsuki was strong? What was he level 5 in? What were his stats? If he could get that information, his quirk might be at least kind of useful. He could assist in rescues, help with training, assist with security. But nope, his quirk was as selfish as it was useless. At this rate there was no way that he was going to get into UA. Out of the way, Deku. Katsuki growled and shoved him in the shoulder just because they were on the same side of the street. It was almost like Katsuki saw him coming and then waited just so he could be a prick about it. You have taken 1 point of damage. You have survived an encounter with Katsuki Bakugo. 5 EXP, congratulations. You have leveled up. You are now a LVL2 weakling. He had leveled up at least 4 times, but every time he was still a level 2 weakling, though he wasn't certain being a level 6 weakling would be any better. Wait. Katsuki's nameplate. It now read that he was level 6. Okay, what the fuck? Why did Katsuki actually level up from that? Why the hell did his quirk hate him? That was it. Today after school he was going to talk to a therapist. Or something. Probably not. There really wasn't much of a point. If he did go to a therapist it wouldn't change that his quirk was an asshole. Still, why was Katsuki a higher level now? What did a level even mean? Was he just that much stronger? Katsuki. Izuku mumbled, trying to catch up to his former friend. Did you get stronger just now or anything? Katsuki snorted into a smirk that oozed confidence. I'm always getting stronger. Unlike you, Deku. That's why you'll always be a weakling with a do-nothing quirk. Thank you for your input. He made certain to stand more than a bit out of arm's reach from the violent blonde. At least none of Katsuki's friends were around. That was when he went from asshole to bully. It was kind of sad how he allowed himself to be influenced by those kids. Though if Izuku had friends he'd probably be influenced by them too. Alright, so Katsuki didn't get a burst of power, which meant that much like everything else with his quirk, the levels meant nothing. Hooray! School was the same as it always was. The teacher taught their class. Izuku ate alone for lunch. Nobody talked to him unless they had to. Katsuki bullied him. Seriously, all this because he didn't have a good quirk, or a spine, but it was easier to blame the quirk really. If he had a strong quirk maybe he'd be able to something, or at the very least people maybe wouldn't bully him. Instead they all knew that his quirk was basically worse than being quirkless, thanks to Katsuki, so even the two quirkless kids in school didn't want anything to do with him. On his way back home from school, he followed the dots leading back home, all of his homework for the day listed on his quest log, and he was still a level 2 weakling. It was the same as it always was. He went to school, was disappointed, then went home, and was disappointed there too. Probably said a lot that his mother was his only real friend. Something odd was up ahead. The normal path he took home was blocked. Not by anything physical, but it looked like there was a giant floating red circle with a cross in it. The trail of dots of his quirk were steering him down an alternative route away from the bridge. There were no other warnings, just that red circle. Why was his path leading away from it? His path always had him go the same direction. So what changed now? Was the red circle a part of his quirk? Did it not want him to go down this path today? Why, when he stuck his arm through the circle nothing happened. Like hell he was going to listen to his quirk. The path didn't reform in front of him as he walked forward. No warning, no officer or anything real coming to stop him. It looked normal. Like a perfectly average disappointing day. Great, now his quirk was making him see things. He continued to walk down the same path he always did. Everything was fine. Everything was 100% fine. That is until he saw a rampaging shark-headed monster charging towards him. Hopefully he wasn't a villain or anything like that. That would just be bad karma. Wait. He was carrying a cash register. A whole cash register under his arm and a screaming girl in the other. Crap, was it a robbery and kidnapping? What the hell was he going to do? Was there a hero chasing the shark? No. Wait, maybe. They might not be able to do anything with the girl in the man's arm. Out of the way, punk. The shark bellowed. Unless you want to get crushed. The nameplate appeared. Shark Villain LVL 15. The letters were bright red and it ended in a skull. Hopefully that didn't mean instant death. He was about to run, but his legs wouldn't move. He was terrified. But he saw the look on the woman's face, the tears in her eyes. She wanted to be saved. Oh fuck it. Dying trying to save someone sounded a lot better than jumping. He grabbed his backpack and flung it forward, aiming for the monster's head. Critical hit. Weak point struck. 3 damage. The damage number was big in red as his backpack slammed into the shark's snout, causing the creature to fall backwards, tossing both the girl and the cash register out of harm's way. Holy crap, did he really just do that? Did he really just beat that big villain? You little punk. That would be a no. The shark stood back up, tears in its eyes and blood dripping from his nostrils. My nose is sensitive, you fuck. How is he supposed to know that? Wait, shark weak. I'm going to kill you. With his feet frozen onto the ground, Izuku could do nothing but stare at the rows of teeth and the giant meaty hands that could easily rip him in half descend down upon him. Those arms had ripped a cash register with the counter still attached from the ground. He was fairly certain that his spine was not as firmly attached to his legs. This was it. This was how he was going to die. But that death never came. Instead, the world was frozen. He couldn't move, he couldn't breathe, but he could think. A new notification hovered in the air. Achievement unlocked, one big-ass mistake. Congratulations, you have made such a stupid and idiotic mistake that it will cost you your life. You clearly can't survive on your own. Reward, party system unlocked. Another screen appeared. Would you like to recruit a party member to aid you in combat? 0/1 free recruits left. The option for no was blurred out, leaving him only with a highlighted yes. It was easily the fastest choice he made in his life. Finding potential party members. Refining list. Choice made by system because user has one big-ass mistake and thus can't be trusted with important choices like this. Tank found. Itsuka Kendo has joined the party. A green box appeared in the corner of his vision, right below his own name. Itsuka Kendo LVL 6 Monk. Big-ass fist style. Summoning Itsuka Kendo. Itsuka Kendo has been summoned. Resuming combat. Try not to die. What was she going to do? Save him from being eaten? What was he going to do to stop himself from being eaten? This didn't make any sense. He had a party system? What did that mean? Like Pokemon, why did he know Itsuka's class? A monk didn't sound useful. All of that was answered when time started to flow once again and those teeth closed in around him. Only for an orange-haired girl wearing a martial artist uniform appear out of nowhere. One of her hands was easily several times the size of her own body slammed into the shark man's nose. The other fist was drawn back in some kind of martial arts stance. Weak point struck. 45 points of damage. Congratulations, your party member has defeated a rampaging villain. She has gained 5000 EXP. Despite doing nothing at all, you have leached 100 EXP. Level up. Itsuka Kendo is now a LVL 7 monk. Congratulations. You have leveled up. You are now a LVL 2 weakling. What? Itsuka squeaked in confusion. She was starting to fall. He had to act quick. He moved forward and brought out his arms and attempted to catch the orange-haired girl before she hit the ground. By some miracle he did. Achievement unlocked. Pervert. You touched the girls but by accident or on purpose. Reward. You can now view your party members' stats. Itsuka's status screen appeared before him. Status, Itsuka Kendo. LVL 7 Monk. Big-ass fist style. Strength, manhands. Dexterity, can't dodge a brick. But can punch one. Constitution, you'll tire out first. Intelligence, smart enough to know what you really should be doing. Wisdom, wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Charisma, C but currently in denial and thinks that she's still a B. Unspent attribute points, 8. Unspent skill points, 4. Feats, 1. Chapter 2, Level 2. So, Itsuka walked over to him. She was taller than him, most girls were, and crossed her arms, looking at him with an annoyed look on her face. Oh great, a cute girl was talking to him, and she was probably going to be asking him all sorts of questions he didn't know or what to even do. Did he mention she was really pretty? Just the orange hair, green eyes, and just her whole presence was really charming. Achievement unlocked, baby's first crush. You really got a crush on the first girl to ever say a single word to you, huh? Reward, affection meter. An empty bar appeared below Itsuka's name that had a smaller line directly in the middle of it. He had a feeling that he wouldn't have any idea which side is good and which side is bad, or if it even represented something at all. Itsuka poked him in the chest with a finger that was easily bigger than his own fist. Care to explain what just happened? Like, why am I here? Why was that guy attacking you? And why is it that I know your name? Izuku. Oh God, a pretty girl knew his name. That felt like more of an achievement than anything else that happened today. Still, this was his first time getting achievements. And they seemed to unlock new stuff. The only problem was that he didn't know how to unlock them. Though all of them had been more insulting than normal. Oi, Itsuka snapped her enlarged fingers right in front of him, her other hand was on her hip. Izuku, that is your name, right? She sighed and shrunk her hand. Look, I'm not mad or anything. I just want to know what happened. Oh right, a cute girl was talking to him. Oh, well dash. Achievement unlocked, you spoke to a girl. Well kind of. Reward, party chat. Oh. That seemed like it might be useful. But how did he use it? And Itsuka was still staring at him. Oh. Well, I'm not exactly sure. My quirk is a little bit weird. And I'm not really in control of it or anything. Sorry for the inconvenience. His answers only appeared to make her even more annoyed. So why did you pick me? And why am I only level 7? And a monk? And why are you a level 2 weakling? Oh, so she could see that stuff too now? I don't know. I was just walking home and then that guy came charging around the corner, and the girl looked like she needed help, so I threw my bag at him, and then my quirk said I made a big-ass mistake and that I unlocked the party system and it forced me to summon someone, but it didn't let me pick it because it was my fault that I was going to die, and then you appeared and punched the shark in the face. He said without breathing, then exhaled and bowed deeply. Thank you for saving my life and sorry for the inconvenience. Whoa, Izuku, chill. Itsuka gave a weak laugh. I just wanted to know what was happening. But it doesn't sound like you can really control your quirk all too much, more like not at all. So, do you know how to drop the party thing? It's weird. She swiped her hand at the air trying to grab something. I can see the, party frame thing, but I can't really interact with it, and it's not like it's in the way. It's just there. Yeah, you get used to it. Or maybe not. Sorry for using my quirk on you. I didn't really have a choice in the matter. Don't worry about it. But, do you think you can undo it? Like try kicking me out of the party or something? No offense, but your quirk's kind of weird. She scratched the back of her head and then looked down at her bare feet. Oh. And do you think you can send me back first? I don't have my wallet. Or my phone. Or shoes. He had a strange feeling that he wouldn't be able to do any of that even if he tried really, really hard. Chances are, as far as his quirk was concerned, he was basically married to Itsuka now. Marriage failed, she's way out of your league, and you're underaged. Thanks, quirk. So glad he had such an amazing quirk. He winced and reached for his wallet. Are you going to be mad if I say I don't know how or even if I can do either of those things? Itsuka let out a sigh and scratched her fiery hair. She pulled at her ponytail and let her hair down. She ran her finger through it and lifted her foot off the ground to see how dirty it was. I'm not mad at you. Not really. Just annoyed that I was in the middle of training and now wait, where exactly am I? Muzutafu. She let out a groan, her shoulders going slack as she looked up at the sky. Her green eyes met his. I mean, it's not that far. At least I'm still in Tokyo. I'm really sorry about this. He didn't have enough in his wallet to pay for a train ticket. If you want, I can walk you to the train station and we can use my train pass, and I can buy you a pair of sandals at the convenience store. Itsuka raised an eyebrow, already working on putting her hair back into a ponytail. It was always impressive watching girls do all that with their hair. He couldn't even get his own hair to be combed. They sell sandals. It'd be convenient if they did. Terrible dad joke, -10 affection with Itsuka Kendo. Itsuka let out a smile that made it easy to ignore his quirk's notification. That was pretty clever, Izuku. And that sounds great. Thanks, it's the least I can do. It's my fault you're here, and you did save my life. Despite what his quirk said, it looked like Itsuka did like his bad joke. Don't mention it. Itsuka looked back over her shoulder where the police were still loading up the shark she had punched. I'm honestly surprised they didn't question us more. Maybe your quirk did something about that? Or not? If it was really like a video game, we would have gotten loot or something. Chances are if I ever get knocked out, my quirk will drop loot. That would explain why when he got beat during PE his shoe would randomly come off. Your quirk is weird. Itsuka gave him a light shove and urged him to start walking. But it's kind of neat. Like a video game or something, but, like one with no manual or tutorial, like those old games. I wish there was a manual for my quirk. Or that it was simple like yours. Making your fists big seems like it'd be a real great quirk for a hero. Itsuka punched her palm and nodded. That's why I'm going to apply to U.A. I'm hoping to become a strong hero like my father. I wish I could. You wish a lot, you know that, right? Itsuka placed a hand on her hip as they walked. She looked up to him for a moment before looking back at the ground to try and place her steps right. Like, if you want to be a hero you have to try. And your quirk? It's strong. It literally brought me halfway across Tokyo in an instant. Who knows what else it can do? I guess it's never done any of the things it's done before today. There was so much, like achievements, which it was apparently now giving out like candy that unlock new stuff, and the ability to summon other people could be a big help in hero work. See? That's what I'm talking about. If you really want to be a hero, you can do it. And I'll be sure to help you if I can. She slapped him hard on the back, nearly sending him into the ground. You have taken 4 points of damage. Oh, oops. Did that actually hurt? Itsuka winced as flailed about, hands almost touching him again. That was more damage than he did to the villain. But it didn't hurt. Not really. I'm starting to think the numbers are just made up, just like everything else. Oh good. Itsuka looked at her hand and shrugged. Was kind of neat seeing how much damage I did though. Did you really mean that you'd help me though? He rolled his shoulder and saw a store just up ahead near the train station. He also had a mild panic attack that he was talking to a girl again, and that she was planning on talking to him more. What was he supposed to do? His heart was going to explode. Yeah, the way I see it, if I help you out, the sooner I can leave your party thing. Or the party thing gets awesome and I stay anyways. Besides, might be kind of fun finding out when I level up, even if the numbers don't really mean anything. Ah. His quirk was right. He really did have a crush on Itsuka. XXXX. Itsuka sighed as she slowly entered the warm waters of her bath. After being grilled by her father for what felt like hours for randomly vanishing during practice and for not having her shoes, or phone, he had finally accepted the very valid excuse that it was a quirk. He wasn't happy that it was a boy's quirk. She didn't tell him that she was now in a party with Izuku, and that there were unit frames showing his name and level. Maybe if they worked on it, they'd be able to get HP or something on it. Maybe Izuku's already did, but didn't trust the numbers. Still, she laughed, sinking into the warm bathtub. Her feet screaming in pleasure. Level 7 is pretty good, I think. Don't get monk though, would have thought martial artist or something, but maybe it's like DD. The fact that she was secretly a huge nerd for RPGs was something she didn't intend on anybody ever knowing. She blamed her grandparents, and those long summer vacations while her parents did their hero work. There was nothing to do out there but play those games. Sure, she probably could have gotten more sleep back then, but that wasn't the point. Maybe she could rank up or something once she got into the teens? Part of her didn't want Izuku to find a way to have her leave the party. She looked at the unit frames again, trying to find something that wasn't there before. Izuku said that it was like clicking, but, like, with his mind? Nothing happened when she tried it on her unit frame. She was hoping to see those weird stats Izuku was talking about. Then she clicked on Izuku's party chat. Itsuka Kendo. Wait, what? What did I do? Huh? It's literally putting my thoughts there. What the? She took a breath, and tried to calm herself. The message had been sent, but it wasn't recording her thoughts anymore. Okay, so she had to click it to start typing? Huh, well this was the first time she was allowed to instant message a boy. And she was doing it in the bath. Her dad would freak. Wait. Could Izuku see her right now? She started typing again. Itsuka Kendo. Ah, so you can read this right? But you can't actually see me right? Maybe he couldn't see it? Or didn't know how it worked? Probably the latter. It kind of felt like he was a bit of a noob at his own quirk. Izuku Midoriya. Ah. Whoa. How'd you do this? Wait, how am I doing this? This is new. Izuku Midoriya. Oh, and no, I can't see you right now. Just your text and OH. That didn't sound good. Itsuka Kendo. Oh, Izuku Midoriya. Nothing. I just slipped. Sorry. Actually, I also opened up your stat page, or character sheet. Oh, that was good news. Snuggling deeper into her bath, she felt herself smiling. She was texting a boy in the bath and neither her father or the boy knew about it. Izuku's quirk really was neat, if not useful. Itsuka Kendo. Oh. What's it say? Izuku Midoriya. It says your strength is man hands. She didn't like Izuku's Quirk anymore. That was such a stupid nickname from school. Just because she could kick the boys' asses at basically everything did not mean she had man hands. She had giant hands. Itsuka Kendo, are they all like that? I was hoping for some numbers or something. Izuku Midoriya, pretty much. But there's some stuff that popped up earlier that I forgot about. They're yours but I don't think you can actually use them. Itsuka Kendo, Izuku Midoriya, how'd you do that? Like directly think just questions marks. Itsuka Kendo, doesn't matter, tell me about the things. Could Izuku's Quirk boost people? That sounded amazing. What if she had like a talent point, or a feat she could spend? Was there a list? Okay, Itsuka, calm down, don't start geeking out. Izuku didn't even tell you what it was. Izuku Midoriya, well, it says that you have 8 unspent attribute points, 4 skill points, and a feat. Fucking score. Itsuka Kendo, oh, do you know what they do? Izuku Midoriya, not at all. But, I want to find out. Izuku Midoriya, since it's your body, do you think I can put in 1 point into each attribute and see what happens? Itsuka Kendo, sure, just let me respond before you go to the next one. Just in case, laughing face. Izuku Midoriya, how did you think that? Itsuka Kendo, I have no idea. It was probably because she was currently smiling like an idiot and having to cover her mouth so she didn't squeal. Attribute points. Those were super rare in most games. Skills could be useful too, and she had a feat. Those were amazing. What if Izuku's Quirk had power attack? Wait, she should probably take something else. What could she take? Izuku Midoriya, okay, I put a point in your strength. The description changed. But it's still kind of rude. Do you feel anything? Itsuka pulled her arm out of the water and flexed the hard-earned muscle she had been earning for herself. It was still the same slender shape she had before. And she didn't really feel any different, but strength really wasn't anything that suddenly felt different. Itsuka Kendo, nothing out of the normal. But I'll see if I can lift more weights later. What does it say now though? Izuku Midoriya, man hands and proud. Itsuka Kendo, why is your Quirk such an asshole? Izuku Midoriya, I have no idea. Are you ready for dexterity? Itsuka Kendo, do I want to know what that one says? Izuku Midoriya, probably not. On the plus side your intelligence and wisdom both say you're smarter than me. Charisma is weird though, probably something about man hands again. Man Izuku was right. His Quirk was kind of rude. Izuku Midoriya, did you feel anything? Itsuka Kendo, nope. When I stop being lazy I'll try to touch my toes though. Next is Constitution. I don't think I'll be able to tell for that one though. Izuku Midoriya, okay, well I put that point in. Nothing? Itsuka Kendo, nothing. Onto the mental stats? Izuku Midoriya, yeah, how did you know? Itsuka Kendo, lucky guess. Izuku Midoriya, okay, well I put 1 in intelligence. Itsuka Kendo, nothing. If I do better on my math test I'll let you know. Izuku Midoriya, how do you even feel wisdom? Well, points in. Itsuka Kendo, nothing. Izuku Midoriya, and lastly charisma. Itsuka Kendo, awesome, I'll let you know if I get prettier. She laughed to herself as she sent that message. Then it hit her. A weird tingly feeling. In her chest. There was no fucking way. It just. Why? Why would his Quirk be able to do that, and why was it so fucking perverted? Was that how charisma worked for girls? It was just her bra size. But there was no way she was that big. Izuku Midoriya, Itsuka? She jumped. Crap, did he know? Itsuka Kendo, I'm fine. But what did charisma say before? Izuku Midoriya, something about being a C but in denial and thinking you were still a B? I thought it was just being rude and saying you weren't as attractive as you thought you were. Izuku Midoriya, not that you're not attractive or anything I mean. You are, but I just mean that Itsuka Kendo, Izuku, it's okay. I get it. But does it say anything about being a D now? Izuku Midoriya, yeah, why? Itsuka Kendo, just a hunch. Let's not put any more points into that. There goes any chance of her still being able to wear her old bras. Stupid perverted Quirk. Izuku Midoriya, okay, well what should I do with the other 2 points? Itsuka Kendo, just put them in strength, that's the one that sounds most useful. She sighed and sunk into the bath. This time she stared long and hard at her arms, waiting for anything to change. Maybe it was like a game where the attribute changes wouldn't actually change her character. The number of short girls with insane strength and wielding great axes she had played as were proof enough of that. Her breasts floated. But then why the charisma? That was it. She agreed with Izuku. His quirk was a jerk. Chapter 3, Level 3, Itsuka Kendo LVL 8 Monk. Big ass fist style. In just over a week, Itsuka had gained another level. For Izuku, it was impressive as it was frustrating, but she was absolutely beaming with pride and joy, so he couldn't help but feel happy for her. The fact that they were meeting up for the first time in public since that day and she was wearing casual clothes that made her look adorable and spunky had nothing to do with it. Okay, maybe it had a lot to do with it. Thanks for the coffee, Itsuka hummed, blowing onto the steaming cup with a soft smile on her face. It was amazing just how different she looked when she wasn't in her martial artist clothes. A simple blue jean jacket, burnt orange dress that traveled all the way down to her knees, and black leggings just made her look like they were on a date. They were sitting at a park on their day off drinking coffee and tea. This had to be a date, right? 404 quest, date with Itsuka. Not found. Try growing a pair. His face felt warm again. Great. Just great. He was probably blushing now. It didn't help that he knew that she had a habit of using their party chat feature whenever she was in the bath. That or she just spent a lot of time in Unga Bunga mode. She probably couldn't see debuffs or things like that yet. Or if she did, she just accepted the fact that when she got naked, she entered Unga Bunga mode. Still, the fact that he was talking to someone that he had talked to while they were naked and it was a girl did not make this much easier. Don't mention it, Izuku mumbled, staring down at the table that was between them. His own cup of tea was still steaming, but he really didn't need that to feel warm right now. What if someone saw them? Would they think they were on a date? Did Itsuka think this was a date? Consider it a congratulations for leveling up. Again, thanks, I worked my butt off. She reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook, flipping it open to the first page. A big red question mark was at the top of the page, followed by a 5,000. Dozens of other numbers ran along one side with small notes for what each of them was for. Alongside a running total spilled over from one page to the next. I've been keeping track of my experience and trying to find out how I can gain more. So far beating that big bad guy gave me the most. By like a lot. Same for him, but he only got 100. Wow, this is impressive, Itsuka. He tried to do something similar in 5th grade. But then when he kept staying at level 2, he just kind of gave up on tracking it. It didn't matter how much EXP he gained when he was stuck at level 2. He needed to not be so jealous. So what if his quirk liked Itsuka more than him? He liked Itsuka more than his quirk. She smiled and flipped to the last page. I don't know how close I was to level 7, but I added everything up and came up that I gained a total of 7,455 EXP before I got to level 8. I think that you need 1,000 EXP per level in order to level up, but I won't know for certain until I get to level 9. That's great news, but how are you gaining so much EXP? The most he ever gotten at one time was 100, and that was when Itsuka beat that villain. Normally it was little bits like 5, sometimes 10, really it depended on what was giving the experience. Oh! Itsuka pointed towards a 10 on her book. It was for a math test. So, when I do a test it gives me 5 for completing it, but for doing it perfectly I got an extra 5. He knew that, but the big points come from extra credit. She pointed towards a few larger numbers, many of them were closer to 50. Extra credit gets converted directly to EXP, and one of my teachers loves to give out extra credit for random things so long as you've done all the work. So I've been milking her. He didn't know that. So all this is extra credit? Not all of it. She pointed towards a set of 25s. I got these for tutoring some of the other students in math, and then I also got a bit more for being the class president. I think helping others gives a bigger boost than normal, but I'm not sure. But the biggest EXP source is my dad. Your dad? Wait, didn't she say her dad was a pro hero? Itsuka gave him a great big grin and nodded. Yeah, even when I lose against him I still get a good chunk of EXP. He's been happy that I've been wanting to spar so much with him lately. He just thinks it's because I'm getting ready for UA, which is true. Huh, so sparring was like fighting, and Itsuka was gaining upwards of 100 EXP whenever she sparred with her father. Oh, I also recorded - she turned the page to one that was filled with some letters and numbers. There was A, B, W, H, and not that page. Sorry. Next one. She flipped to a page that had more simple math on it and a picture of big hands and little hands. I figured out my strength bonus to damage. You did? Why did it feel like she put more effort into understanding his quirk than he was? He'd been spending most of the last week trying to unlock the skill section of Itsuka's page and then hopefully the feed as well. So far he hadn't managed anything. Can you explain? Yeah, it's really awesome. She pointed to a bunch of numbers below the small fist. Basically, when I'm actually trying to strike someone, I do anywhere between 5 to 10 damage, but really I think it's 1 to 6 plus 4. But then, when I use my quirk, that damage goes up to 11 to 16. I'm hoping that my quirk gives me 1.5x my strength bonus as opposed to just a flat plus 6. She was able to gather all that information with 2 sets of numbers. What the fuck had he been doing with his quirk? Oh, right. Not actually using it and giving up because he was upset that it was mean to him. You've put a lot of effort into this. Yeah. Itsuka took another long drink of her coffee and just seemed to get even happier. It's nice, seeing numbers, knowing that you're making progress. I feel like I'm trying even harder now that I get a reward like experience when I do stuff like my homework. She placed her cup down and frowned. But, I can see why you kind of gave up on it. Seeing those rewards pop up constantly and never actually improving must have sucked. Did she just sum up at least half his childhood trauma with a single sentence? Yeah, she gave him a pathetic smile and shrugged, pushing her hair back behind her ear. He really needed to stop having a giant freak crush on his first female friend. Well, technically, she was his first friend since he entered high school. He really needed to thank Kaken for that one. So, did you make any progress with unlocking skills? Why did it look like she was about to rip the band-aid off with that question? Not really. I tried to get new achievements, little things like going a whole day without eating, making his bed every day in a row, holding his breath, talking to another girl. That one didn't actually pan out, and even trying to sit through a scary movie. Alone. At night. Still had nightmares about that one, but they're kind of random. Oh, well, I think I might know why you can't see the skills or feats yet. Itsuka sucked on her bottom lip and hunched her shoulders. You see, I think it might be because you don't actually have any skills. You have taken 10 points of psychological damage from Itsuka Kendo. You are now feeling inadequate. Your self-worth has been lowered. That and your quirk's kind of a dick. Itsuka mumbled, slinking further down in her seat. The cold air of winter's end blowing between them. Sorry, it's alright. I think that you might be right. He half expected an achievement to appear right then telling him that he had just made some kind of a revelation. I mean, I don't think I'm really skilled at anything. And I really haven't done anything that could be considered a feat or anything either. That was what I thought. You have taken 8 points of psychological damage from Itsuka Kendo. You are now feeling inadequate. Your self-worth has been lowered. Your self-worth cannot go any lower. Itsuka sighed. Sorry, does that actually hurt? Not really. I'm kind of used to it. He sighed with her and let out a groan. Though who knew what kind of psychological damage he was actually taking? Being told by the girl he liked that he had no skills, feats, or any other redeeming features probably didn't do a whole lot of good for him. Even if it was true, good. She leaned forward, her coffee-filled breath made him aware of how close they were sitting. Because I have an idea. Is it getting a skill? Yep. How? By trying to learn something until you think you're skillful at it. Itsuka smiled, placing both elbows on the table. Or if we find something you're already skillful at. Can you think of anything? Like me, I think I'm pretty skilled at martial arts. So, maybe it's something you're already doing? Unless self-doubt and sarcasm are a skill, I don't think so. Honestly, with your quirk, I'd be surprised if they weren't. Itsuka closed her notebook and sat up straight. But, I also think that's why you're still a level 2 weakling. I mean that in the nicest way possible. But, well, you also kind of are. I'm starting to think that you're trying to deal psychological damage to me. He sighed, resting his head on the table. But I guess you're not really wrong either. Hey, Izuku, look at me. Itsuka tapped him on the head, drawing his eyes up to her verdant teal eyes. Why was she so nice to him again? She was so pretty. If it wasn't for his quirk they probably wouldn't have ever talked. Maybe he should start looking at that as the positive it actually was. Your quirk is an asshole. I know that I wouldn't want it to be my quirk. But don't you think it's time you stop letting it kick your ass? She held out a hand to him, now standing at the bench. I want to help you, Izuku. But, you need to start by helping yourself first. What do you say? Do you want to actually start trying to level up? How? Shut up and trust me. You have chosen to blindly trust Itsuka Kendo. 10. Relationship points. Chance of bodily harm increased by 50%. XXXX. Izuku Midoriya, so what exactly are we doing here? Izuku looked around the kitchen Itsuka had dragged him to. He had a feeling this had been her idea the whole time. Actually he was beyond certain that it was exactly what she had wanted. Maybe manipulation was one of her skills. Other people talked around large workstations that had more appliances than his mother owned. Itsuka Kendo, learning to cook. Itsuka bounced over to him and placed a large white chef's hat on top of his head. Her jacket was gone. In its place was a brown apron, and she had her hair pulled back into a ponytail that flowed flat against her back. She looked so domestic, and she still smelled like coffee. Did she always smells like coffee? Izuku Midoriya, why? How's that supposed to help? He fastened the strap of his own apron, and adjusted the chef's hat that only about half the class was wearing. What on earth was going on? How were they already enrolled here? Why didn't it cost him any money? Did Itsuka pay for this? Why was she making him cook? Was this a date? 404 quest, date with Itsuka. Not found. Take a hint. Oh, shut up. Itsuka Kendo, because cooking is a skill that everybody can learn. And in video games, food is OP. Izuku Midoriya, really? Itsuka Kendo, yeah, did you not play any video games or something? Izuku Midoriya, not really, they reminded me of my quirk. Did you? Itsuka nodded her head while sucking on her lip. Itsuka Kendo, more than I'm comfortable with admitting. 10 Trust with Itsuka. Ask her what her main is. Itsuka Kendo, but, anyways. Food is so important in RPGs and other video games. Most of the time they heal you, like a lot, and if there's a chance that eating a burger can heal a broken arm then I think it's worth the chance. They can also give buffs, sometimes it's even an EXP buff or other stats. Itsuka's face went red when that message sent and she tried to look away from him, pulling up her dress just enough to hide her face. Sorry, I got kind of excited about it. Don't worry about it. It's kind of cute knowing you're kind of a nerd. You have just shamelessly flirted with Itsuka Kendo. Itsuka Kendo is now confused. Hopefully she didn't see that message. Thanks, but please don't tell anyone. Not that I have many friends to tell or anything. But yeah. She laughed easily, scratching the back of her head. I think we should start setting up. Right, Chapter 4, Level 4, congratulations. You have crafted something edible, probably. Rank up. You are now a beginner mediocre chef. Achievement unlocked, with your own 2 hands. You actually made something worthwhile. Reward, crafting, item appraisal. Achievement unlocked, skilled, in the loosest meaning of the word. Reward, skills. Item, beginner's basic mediocre French toast of basic mediocrity. Category, food, questionable, consumable. Effects, 5 HP, 3 stickiness, high chance of a stomach ache. Creator's skill level low. Effects may be randomized. Created by Izuku Midoriya. Itsuka let out a gasp and looked at him with wide eyes. She had him by his shoulders, somehow shaking while also rapidly slapping him. Her excitement was written all over her face as she did a few jumps, looking between him and the French toast he had just made. He couldn't help but share in her excitement, as after 4 classes, they had finally reached their goal. Being skilled at something. Anybody could make a sandwich, pour hot water in a ramen cup, cut some fruit. The first few attempts at cooking hadn't really failed. It was edible, sure, but for whatever reason, his quirk didn't count it. But it counted the French toast. There wasn't anything really special about it. It was just French toast, battered bread, fried in a pan until it was golden, a bit of butter spread on top, a flurry of white powdered sugar, a couple of berries, and a cup of warm syrup. It looked like something a restaurant would sell, so maybe that was what did it. Itsuka Kendo, grats. That worked, right? I can see it as stats and stuff. And it was made by you. That has to mean it worked, right? He looked at Itsuka, then back at his modest creation. She was way too close. How is it that every time he saw her she just got more adorable? Her long orange hair was pulled into the ponytail she often wore in the cooking class. It wasn't on the side of her head, rather it started and appeared just above her neck and cascaded straight down. The adorable apron she was wearing over her brown sweater she just made her so beautiful. Her wide brilliant smile only made her just that much more so. Izuku Midoriya, yeah, I think I unlocked skills now. And crafting, and item inspection. Itsuka Kendo, whoa! That's a lot. I guess you just need to make food actually look like food. And I knew it would heal. Grats Izuku, do you mind if I try it? Itsuka half mumbled as she moved her hand forward, slowly pinching towards one of the thin cut pieces of toast, just to see what the taste is like. And other effects? Sure. Did she have to eat the whole thing to get the effect? Could they share? Thanks. She wasted no time in dipping a piece into the syrup and then right into her mouth. Itsuka looked confused for half a moment, one eyebrow nearly going up to her hair, before she swallowed. She gave a frown of approval and nodded, going for another piece. Not bad, Izuku. I think you might actually have a talent for this. That was good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. She gave him another wide smile as she took another bite. Itsuka Kendo, by the way, the healing is per piece of toast. But I still don't know how much health I actually have. Izuku Midoriya, arbitrary numbers are arbitrary. What about the other effects? Itsuka Kendo, fingers are sticky, but I don't think I've felt any. Oh. Itsuka stood straight, looked at him with wide dilated eyes, and then sprinted towards the door. The rest of the classroom all looked at her, then to him. More than a few remarks were made about how it didn't look that bad. This had his quirk written all over it. Izuku Midoriya, Itsuka? Are you okay? No response. But her status appeared to be fine. Maybe she was too busy puking to respond? Great. He made Itsuka puke with his cooking. That was just great. It looked like good French toast too. Hey, a woman in the class came over to him. I'll clean up for you. Why don't you go check on your girlfriend? She's not. He swallowed and stood straight. I am, thank you. Sorry. Another person pointed him towards the bathroom. Great. He was about to enter the girls' bathroom in a public place. Technically, he hadn't lived down the shame of walking in there in middle school, but this time, he was checking on Itsuka. And not lost. Itsuka? He asked, poking his head into the room and knocking on the door. Why couldn't the woman be the one checking on her? Everything all right? Her voice sounded from one of the stalls. Itsuka Kendo, I'm all right. Just your quirk being weird. Again. Izuku Midoriya, oh, do you need anything then? Sorry. Itsuka Kendo, don't apologize. I was the one that ate it. But now we know that the random effects are, super random. Izuku Midoriya, I guess I can't use my quirk for anything anyways. No! Itsuka shouted from her stall. It's not that bad. It's just, well, it's weird. But don't worry, Itsuka Kendo, I can see the debuff, I'm just going to wait it out. Izuku Midoriya, how long does it last? And what is it? Itsuka Kendo, 3 hours. And it's nothing, I'm fine. You don't even have to leave me alone. We can still chat. But you should probably head home, I'd hate for you to miss the train. Izuku Midoriya, okay. Are you sure you're okay? Itsuka Kendo, absolutely. Just chalk this up to girls being weird. Izuku Midoriya, okay, well, I guess we can see exactly what skills are now. Itsuka Kendo. I completely forgot about that. He laughed and headed out. Itsuka said there was a debuff or something like that, right? Looking at her status menu, he saw what she was talking about. Minor embarrassing transformation. You have been transformed in an embarrassing way. 2 hours 56 minutes and 25 seconds. Hopefully Itsuka would be okay in the bathroom. Wait. Izuku Midoriya, wait, are you seriously going to wait 3 hours in a public bathroom stall? Itsuka Kendo, no, I was going to sneak out once you were gone. Itsuka Kendo, damn it. Stupid train of thought. Izuku Midoriya, is it really that bad? Itsuka Kendo, doesn't matter, you're not seeing me for at least 3 hours. I will punch you. Izuku Midoriya, fine, but do you want me to bring you anything? A hat or something? Itsuka Kendo, don't worry about it. I have most of my stuff, just go. Izuku Midoriya, you're aware if I don't at least bring you your stuff they're going to think I'm a bad friend, right? Itsuka Kendo, fine, just toss them on the counter in the bathroom. After doing just that, Izuku began to head home. But more importantly, he began to play with his new menus. The crafting menu was bland at the moment, it showed the recipes that he learned from the class, plus a few basic ones. Some of them were grayed out, and a few were green or yellow. According to Itsuka, the colors probably represented challenge level, and that if he wanted to get better at cooking, he needed to work on the yellow stuff, and that there might be orange stuff later. Hopefully the difficulty wouldn't end up changing around, but either way, he probably wasn't going to get any skill ranks from making a sandwich or instant ramen. Maybe it was something that could be useful later. And then he opened up the skills. User has achievement, one big ass mistake. Personal skills have been auto-filled by system. Why was he not surprised? So he messed up once by trying to attack a level 15 shark man. That ended up in him becoming friends with Itsuka. He would never admit that was a bad idea or a mistake. His own list of skills was short. At the top was cooking, he now had 4 ranks in it. Which sounded like a lot. Then there were a few other skills that he had less than a rank in, and a few that he had no ranks in. Things like perception, knowledge, handwriting, speech, were there and other things. Like masturbation. Masturbation was a skill. It had the highest bonus out of all his skills. Even higher than cooking. Izuku Midoriya, so apparently common sense is a skill. Itsuka Kendo, don't tell my dad. I'll never hear the end of it. Izuku Midoriya, my bonus is negative 99.99. Itsuka Kendo, smiley face. Izuku Midoriya, how did you think that? Itsuka Kendo, no idea. What did you put your ranks into? Did you have any? Izuku Midoriya, I did, but my Quirk doesn't trust me and put all my ranks into cooking. Itsuka Kendo, that's not too terrible. I was half expecting you to have max ranks in procrastination or something. Now. My turn? Laughing face. Izuku Midoriya, sure, hopefully it doesn't auto-assign them. His Quirk did not. Instead, when he saw Itsuka's skill sheet he couldn't help but feel a bit envious. She had a lot of skills. A lot of them were actually useful. From working out, to studying, to martial arts, to math, reading, and using her head, it really felt like Itsuka was the kind of girl that just succeeded. So why was she wasting so much time with a loser like him? Really, the only odd thing at Itsuka's list was a few video game-related skills, and much like him, she had a bonus to masturbation. Best not to think about that. She just had to put as many ranks as she could into fighting. Naturally, neither one of them knew if the extra skill ranks did anything, but Itsuka was hopeful. XXXX. She was beautiful. Like really beautiful. It was the kind of effortless beauty that just kind of grabbed the attention of everyone around. Long silky black hair, soft angular face and a tender smile that could stop a heart. It felt like she could easily be an idol or someone famous. She was wearing winter clothing, a furry brown coat, red scarf, pleated skirt, and black leggings. In her hand, she was reading a prep class book, one for the hero courses, and he was staring at her. Gah, what was he doing? Why was he being a creep in public? Sure, she was beautiful, but that didn't mean he had the right to stare at her. Besides, she was at the train station for a reason. And he had a crush on Itsuka, so he probably didn't need to be staring at her. At least he knew Itsuka's name. It wasn't that the girl was prettier than Itsuka, she was just a different kind of pretty, and it wasn't like he and Itsuka were anything more than friends. He just had a crush on her. And apparently, one on the girl he hadn't even met yet. Was he allowed to have more than one crush? Was that allowed? It was a good thing his Quirk didn't come with relationship advice. Izuku let out a sigh and stared out at the train tracks. A reminder of all the times he thought about stepping onto those tracks and just letting nature take its course. It wasn't that he wanted to kill himself, it was just that the thoughts were there. But now, they just weren't tempting. For once, it felt like his life was actually moving forward, all because he let some crazy redhead talk him into making some fancy toast. Well, not really. Still needed to figure out how to get rid of the actually random effects. Maybe there was a feat for that? If he could figure out how to get a feat really, feats were basically the same thing as achievements in the dictionary, but Itsuka shared with him one of her DD books and apparently, feats were special abilities that players could choose, and a lot of them were pretty powerful. It made sense that Itsuka would be eager to unlock those. Crafting feats were pretty common in the books, so maybe if he kept getting better with cooking, then he'd get a feat for it. Looks like he was still going to be taking those classes. At least Itsuka was more than happy to join him. And they needed to test just how much they healed, if at all. Maybe getting a paper cut or something, then eating? Why did he have to jump through so many loops for his quirk to be useful? That pretty girl probably had a quirk that was useful. Out of the way! A voice screamed. Izuku looked through the crowd, towards the pedestrian walkway down below. There was a crazed-looking man armed with a gun and carrying a duffel bag. Alarms sounded, people shrieked. Stop! You'll only make things worse. A hero shouted as he tried to confront the man. Worse? What's worse than this? I can't be like you. I can't be a hero. Not when my quirk does this. The man gave a crazed laugh and touched his hand against the skyscraper. I can't save anyone. He couldn't help but feel for the man. Then he saw what exactly his quirk was. Rust. It didn't so much crawl up the building as much as it grew and grew around the base, where the man had touched, and then slowly the whole thing crumbled to dust. The glass and other bits were fine. The structure began to groan. And then tilt. Panic spread through the area. Or this. The man moved and touched the metal support beam of the train station. This time, the rust did spread like wildfire. Shit! He needed to move before they fell down. It was nearly 50 feet down from here. Never fear. His eyes whirled to the sky, then towards the crowd, just in time for All Might to appear. He moved with speed and caught the falling tower at the base. For I am here to give a hand. That didn't solve the problem of the train tracks though. Already, the ground was caving in as people hurried down the collapsing stairs. The tracks themselves sputtered and snapped as the beams rusted away, leaving the ground beneath the platform a dangerous pit of spikes and rust. Falling from their height would already be bad, but with a trap like that down below, it would be deadly. He needed to get down. Now, press X to jump. A blue glowing X appeared in his vision, a smaller outward circle drained away from it. How the fuck was he supposed to press X? Why couldn't his quirk just be straightforward? Why couldn't he move his legs now? Izuku Midoriya, Itsuka. Help! My body won't move, I'm about to die, and my quirk is telling me to press X. Itsuka Kendo, what? I can't leave you alone, can I? Okay, that kind of sounds like a quick time event. You really need to start playing video games. Izuku Midoriya, you think? How do I press X? Itsuka Kendo, I don't know, think it. Fuck it. Press X. His legs moved on his own and he jumped over a hole that formed in front of him. Now this was pretty useful. Another prompt appeared. Press A to escape. A scream tore him from the prompt, and the world seemed to slow. Out of all the screams, why was it that he heard this one? Because it came from that girl. The beautiful one with the black hair. She was falling backwards, the ground beneath he crumbling down into the rust-filled spike pit below. She looked so afraid. He had to help her. Why wasn't his legs moving? He needed to save her. Please. Just let him save her. He could do it. Please. Quirk. Just this once. Press Y to save. He pressed it and his body moved again, dodging another hole as the world crumbled beneath him, the screams of the civilians falling deaf as he jumped towards her. Hands outstretched, she was falling so slowly. How was he moving so fast? The last bit of solid ground slammed into him as he barely managed to reach her, but he was too late. She slipped from his hands, her eyes going wide. Damn it. He was too slow. Achievement unlocked, risking it all. It didn't matter if she was pretty. You were going to save her. Reward, extra party slot. The world stopped just like before. Itsuka Kendo, what the? What's happening? This again? Would you like to recruit a new party member to aid you in combat? 1/2 free recruits left. Again the option for no was grayed out. He clicked yes with all his might. Please. Please let him pick this girl. Finding potential party members. Refining list. Please choose from the available candidates. Momo Yaoyorozu level 6 cleric of creation. She was the only one on the list. Was his quirk listening to him? Was this the girl? He selected her. It wasn't like he had a choice in the matter. Warning, adding more than one female party member to your party could result in an awkward social life and potential friend zoning. In order to avoid this and any future bouts of jealousy, please enable harem mode. Would you like to enable harem mode now? Female party members will not lose reputation with each other and will become faster friends. Yes/no. He had a choice this time. Still, why was it called harem mode? And why did that matter? It wasn't like girls couldn't be friends. Whatever. If it meant saving her, then yes. Achievement unlocked. Degeneracy. You enabled harem mode. Even if it was for a good reason. Reward, class, harem protagonist. Momo Yaoyorozu has joined the party. Chapter 5, Level 5. Her fingers slipped past his. The lightest touch not allowing either of them to form that secure grip. His eyes were locked onto hers. They were wide, filled with fear and regret. Her mouth was open in a gasp of terror, body stuck mid-fall like a scene from a comic page. Gnarled rusted metal and growing flames awaited her down below. But the world was frozen by his quirk. Summoning Itsuka Kendo. Summoning Momo Yaoyorozu. Resuming crisis. Hold on tight. The world snapped into motion once more. Momo jutted a foot upwards, her hand firmly outstretched, and grabbed onto his forearm while he did the same to her. Her weight hit him like a truck, threatening to pull him down with her or tear his arm off. Still Izuku gritted his teeth and pressed a hand against one of the few remaining parts of the rusting ground beneath him. Hang on. Izuku muttered, trying to pull Momo up. Strength check failed. Try actually working out. Not helping. Don't, Momo said. If you keep this up, you'll fall too. I don't care. Izuku grunted and tried again. His free hand slipped, slicing his hand along the sharp rusted metal. You have taken 7 damage. You are bleeding. He still didn't care. Strength check failed. Receiving assist from Itsuka. Strength check succeeded. Itsuka. I got you. Itsuka's voice called from behind him. One of her giant hands wrapped around his waist and pulled him upwards with a surprising amount of ease. It was all he could do to keep a hold of Momo. The other girl's gray eyes went wide as she was sent flying up into the air and then caught by Itsuka's other hand. Momo Yaoyorozu, ginger-haired cat lady with giant fists. Itsuka Kendo, please don't mention the cat ears. Izuku Midoriya, cat ears? Momo Yaoyorozu, what the fuck is this? What's happening? Why are my thoughts being shown here? Oh god, please don't let it show that I think she's cute. Itsuka Kendo, ignore the cat ears. Also don't flirt while I'm trying to save you. Momo Yaoyorozu, sorry. You can just let me die now. Izuku adjusted himself in Itsuka's fist so that he could get a better look at her. Same ginger hair, same cute nose. She still had her normal ears that stuck out just a bit, but on top of her head was a set of orange cat ears. Where did those come from? Did she always have them? Also her face was really red, and he should be freaking out that their life was still in danger, but apparently Itsuka had that covered. With a grace that he forgot she had, it was easy to forget that she'd been training in martial arts since she could walk. Itsuka stepped around the growing holes in the floor and made her way to the stairs. They were greeted with flames. Itsuka Kendo, it's too high to jump. Izuku Midoriya, it might be the only way. Could you land if you had a free hand? Itsuka Kendo, probably, but you're an idiot if you think I'm leaving either of you. Momo Yaoyorozu, if you could let my arm out, I might be able to help. Itsuka Kendo, awesome. Itsuka unfurled her fingers so that Momo could let arms out while still keeping a firm grip on the other girl's waist. Momo let out a breath and held out her hands. A moment later, a couple of balls appeared in her hands. She tossed them into the fires where they exploded into a white foam that destroyed the flames in a matter of moments. Great going, Momo. Now hold on. Itsuka jumped onto the railing and slid down it with both himself and Momo acting as counterweights. Congratulations. Your party has survived a disaster. Itsuka Kendo has gained 1000 EXP. Momo Yaoyorozu has gained 500 EXP. For trying, you have gained 250 EXP. Level up. Itsuka Kendo is now a LVL 9 monk, congratulations. You have leveled up. You are now a LVL 2 weakling, right? He still needed to change that. Ding! Itsuka shouted proudly once they reached the ground. She kept running and bounced over to the other side of the street in an area that looked safe enough. The villain was apprehended, the building wasn't going to fall down, which meant they could get to the important parts. You have cat ears, Izuku said the moment his feet touched the ground. And a tail. Itsuka hummed, biting her lip. Her face was a bright red. The ears on top of her head twitched. So they weren't just fake, but why did she still have human ears? He looked behind her and saw that there was indeed a tail popping out the back of her skirt. Please don't stare at them. It's really embarrassing. Why? Izuku asked, smiling at her. He wanted to rub her ears. You looked good, because your quirk is weird. Normally I wouldn't mind, but I think it's making me feel embarrassed about it. Itsuka crossed her arms and powdered her face bright red. But thanks. I think. It's almost over anyways. Excuse me. The soft voice of Momo spoke up. The girl somehow managed to look just as immaculate as she had moments ago. She placed one hand on top of her chest and looked so close to a princess that he felt like he should be bowing or something. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank you both for saving my life. I don't think I would have survived if you hadn't leapt for me. Momo gave a deep bow at the waist, her long black hair falling past her shoulders. Then she stood upright and took a deep breath. That being said, would you two please explain what's happening right now? What's EXP? Why can I see your names? Why are you a weakling? Why can we talk without speaking? How did the world freeze like that? And dash, look, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, but all of that can be summed up as. Itsuka pointed a giant finger directly at him. It's all this guy's fault and his weird quirk. I assumed as much. Momo let out a breath and gathered herself. Could you please undo your quirk on me? I don't want to sound ungrateful, but this feels invasive and weird. Why am I a cleric? I'm agnostic. Why are you a weakling? How am I level 6? Is this like a video game? Itsuka stood proud and walked over to Momo and grabbed the taller girl's hand. Her ears and tail twitched. Maybe she was just happy that there was another girl in the party. To answer your question, we actually don't know how to remove someone from the party. It might be permanent. Why do you look so happy when you say that? Momo's face was twisted into the most judgmental look she could possibly manage. What were the chances are that she thought Itsuka was crazy? What were the chances that Itsuka was crazy? Well, she was friends with him. Sorry, Itsuka pouted, those cat ears of hers going flat. I just think his quirk is neat, and I was excited that there was someone else to help us figure it out. Besides, you think I'm cute. Momo went red. Please don't talk about that, those were my private thoughts. What even was that? Okay, so, because you're probably stuck with us for a while, let me explain what Izuku's quirk can do so far. Itsuka bounced hers and Momo's hands up and down, a wide smile on her face. Izuku smiled and then pulled up his menu screens while Itsuka explained things. First, he was going to be a bit selfish and check out his new class. More specifically, figure out how to not be a weakling. After looking at his status screen, he found that there was a new drop-down menu next to his class. Weakling, you are weak. Limited to level 2. No benefits. You're weak. Class mastery 10 out of 10. You are overqualified as a weakling. Class mastery bonus, 10 luck. That explained a lot. As far as he could tell, a class mastery bonus was something that would carry over, right? That was good. He had no idea what luck would actually do, but it might help with something down the line, right? Now to look at, it does what? Momo exclaimed, hands flying to her chest as she looked at Itsuka with wide eyes and a red face. They blushed a lot. Was that normal? Momo shot him a dirty look, then looked back to Itsuka and began whispering. What was that about? Did Itsuka find out about Unga Bunga mode? Harem protagonist, you're a lucky son of a bitch. Females in your party will receive 50% EXP per each female in your party. Current bonus 100%. You cannot lose reputation with females in your party, unless you really fuck up. Which you probably will. Share skills and abilities among max reputation females. Likelihood of perverted accidents that come straight out of an ecchi anime, you know the ones, increased by 200%. That sounded a lot better than being a level 2 weakling. He didn't even think twice and swapped the class with surprising ease. He waited to feel something, but he really didn't. He still felt the same, but at least he wasn't a level 2 weakling now. You are now a harem protagonist. Because of your past actions and complete lack of game you are LVL-1. Yeah. That about figured. Still, now he could gain EXP and eventually level up to something higher. Like level 3. Itsuka Kendo, Izuku, why are you now a harem protagonist? You're really not helping your case here. He looked over and saw Itsuka glaring at him. Momo looked confused. Hopefully she wasn't mad at him. Izuku Midoriya, when Momo joined the party I unlocked a new class for having 2 girls in my party. It sounded better than being a level 2 weakling. Momo Yaoyorozu, barely. Itsuka Kendo, straight face. Momo Yaoyorozu, how did you think that? Izuku Midoriya, what? You should be happy about it. It makes it so you gain more experience the more girls in the party. It's 50% per, so I just doubled your EXP growth by being this class. Itsuka Kendo, O.O. Momo Yaoyorozu, I think you broke her. This is strange. But I rather like the party chat. Itsuka Kendo, that sounds amazing. Izuku. Does it do anything else? Izuku Midoriya, I can't lose reputation with you too, but it also says I can, if I max out reputation, we get to share skills and abilities. I have no idea how to do that though. Itsuka Kendo, guess we'll have to find out later. In the meantime, what about Momo? Momo Yaoyorozu, excuse me? Itsuka Kendo, what about Momo? Her stats. And her skills. Oh, by the way, her quirk is amazing. It lets her create stuff with her body fat. I think that's why her class is Cleric of Creation. Momo Yaoyorozu, yes, I had similar thoughts as well. Izuku nodded and pulled up Momo's stat sheet and shared it with both of them. Status, Momo Yaoyorozu. LVL 6 Cleric of Creation. Strength, can carry more books than you. Dexterity, once caught a pen she dropped before it hit the ground and felt proud of it for a week. Constitution, can actually run a mile. Not run part way, walk, then run again. Intelligence, knows the chemical bonds of over 300 items by heart. Can't fucking cook. Wisdom, knows gullible is in the dictionary but would probably double check just to be safe. Charisma, DD. And she's fucking loaded. Unspent attribute points, 7. Unspent skill points, 4. She didn't have a feat yet. Did those unlock at level 7? Momo Yaoyorozu, wow. Itsuka was right, your quirk is rather rude. Itsuka and Momo walked closer to him, both of them had a bit of a blush still on their face. Probably because of the cold winter air and the fire and he was not that dense. They were talking about something that made them both blush. But what could it be? Alright. Well, if I'm not a member of your party, I would like to do this officially. Momo stepped forward and extended her hand towards him. I am Momo Yaoyorozu, it's a pleasure to meet you Izuku. Her hand was soft. Nice to meet you too Momo. Thank you for joining my party. And putting up with my weird quirk. It's because of your quirk that I'm alive, so I can't be too upset with it. Momo gave a charming smile that made his heart melt. She was just way too pretty, so thank you for saving me. Again, but, Itsuka told me that there are stats and skills for me to put points in and that they have some marginal effect on ability. Do you mind if we take care of that now? Oh, not at all. Do you know where you want them? For the attribute points, I believe that my quirk would benefit most from constitution and your bleeding. Momo looked to his hand and frowned. She held out her hand and a roll of gauze appeared a moment later. Here, let me take care of that for you. Oh. I didn't even notice. Thank you, you have received field treatment from Momo. You are no longer bleeding, you now have a crush on Momo Yaoyorozu. She is so far out of your league. Now then, I believe that the best stats for me are constitution and intelligence. If what Itsuka told me about the two is correct, I can assume that both would help with my quirk, so can you please put 3 in each? Momo brushed a bit of her hair back behind her head and examined his now treated injury. As for the last one, could we wait on it? Sure, let me know if you feel anything. And did you know what skills you want? Momo turned her head quickly to the side and gasped. He did the same and felt his heart get ready to explode. All Might in all his glory was standing right in front of him. He didn't even look like he had just been holding up a building for the past hour. All Might! All 3 of them shouted, stars in their eyes. Hello! I am here. All Might struck his signature pose. His smile was wide before he took a step forward. His giant hand fell on Izuku's shoulder. All Might was touching him. Was he legally allowed to bathe now? Young man, I saw you selflessly try to save this young woman over here. And I just want to know, why would you risk your own life to save her? All Might was asking him a question. What was he supposed to do? He felt Momo squeezed his hand and Itsuka patted his shoulder. Right, she just looked like she wanted to be saved, so I wanted to save her, haha. Excellent, my boy, you may indeed have what it takes to be a hero. And you, young Miswith, what made you decide to try and save both of them? All Might turned his gaze to Itsuka. Itsuka just shrugged. Izuku's my friend, and for Momo, the answer is simple. I want to be the kind of hero that saves a lot of people. I see. Well then. For your heroics today, and looking a crisis head on, I believe an award is in order. All Might beamed from ear to ear and pulled out a small notebook. Might I have your name and address? I wish to give you both a recommendation to UA. Itsuka gasped, and rattled off her name and address at breakneck pace. She was bouncing up and down with pure excitement. Wait, where did her ears go? Oh, the effect must have worn off. He probably shouldn't tell her that he thought she looked cute with them. And you, young man? All Might asked with a gleam in his brilliant blue eyes. Izuku told him his name and address. All Might, sir. My quirk isn't the most useful. Do you really think I can be a hero even if it doesn't help me at times? That's a hard question. But, I believe that if you take your quirk to UA, they will be able to help you forge it into a mighty tool for you, as they have done for so many others. Now then. I must be off. XXXX. Itsuka couldn't believe her luck. She squealed and kicked the water in her bath before relaxing. Her cheeks hurt from how much she was smiling. Not only did Izuku unlock skills, and they got a new party member in the form of Momo, she liked the girl a lot. Already she could tell that they were going to be fantastic friends. It had only been a few hours and they were already texting, but All Might had shown up and even gave her and Izuku a recommendation to UA. She didn't know they could do that. Oh, and Izuku wasn't a level 2 weakling anymore and was now a class that doubled her experience. Which was just awesome, even if it was harem protagonist. It probably didn't mean anything because of how sarcastic his quirk tended to be towards him. Also, she was level 9. Wait. She should have asked Izuku if she got any more stat points. Or skill points. There were so many awesome things. And Momo was going to UA as well next year. All things considered, her life had been so much better since she met Izuku. Was that why his quirk chose her? Izuku Midoriya, OMG. All Might just showed up and said that he wanted to train me and that if I did the right thing, he'll give me his quirk. Izuku Midoriya, fuck. Pretend you didn't just read that. But still. I can become a hero now. Momo Yaoyorozu, what? Itsuka blinked and stared at the chat. She felt happy for Izuku. She really did, but at the same time, what about your own quirk? She sunk into the bath and stared at her hands. You have gained 50 reputation points with redacted. She blinked and the notification was gone. Like it wasn't even there. And that's a wrap for today's episode of What If series. We hope you enjoyed exploring the world of My Hero Academia with us and imagining the possibilities of Deku with a gamer quirk. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. Also, let us know in the comments what you think of this alternate universe version of Deku. Until next time, keep watching and keep imagining.